Everybody, and welcome to another edition of Can Do Entertainment Presents. May the Force be with you, and Merry Christmas. I want to say that I'm sorry. I had planned to get a whole lot more videos done before today, but between work and the band and Christmas, I just got behind. So the best of the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, and the 12th Doctor are going to I'm going to have to do them at another date. But I am doing the best of the Christmas specials today, or at least my favorite ones. So, because tonight we get the brand new Christmas special with the First Doctor and the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi's last episode. So I will try to do a review on that as soon as the episode goes off. I'm going to be traveling back to work tonight, so hopefully everything will work out. But anyway, here are the Christmas specials in the order that I like them. So, you may disagree, you may agree. It's just a list. So here we go. All right. Coming in at number 12 is, and off of the, super little disc here, is the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, which, okay, let's all face it, this is basically an homage to Narnia with the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and this episode is horrible. I went back and rewatched a lot of pretty much all of them so I could do this ranking, and this one was just the hardest one to get through. It has a very childish plot. I know it's supposed to be a love letter to Narnia, but I didn't care about none of the background characters at all. It was silly. The wooden people, not even callbacks to Androzani, or the scene with Amy and Rory at the end was probably the highlight of the entire episode. I just do not like this one. The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Just I think it's the Christmas special for season 6. No. Okay, after that it's gonna be the return of Dr. Mysterio from last year. Now, this really isn't a Christmas episode, with the exception of the very beginning when the Doctor runs into Grant and Grant gets superpowers. There's nothing else at Christmas, and that's not a requirement for my list, but it's just more of like a love letter to comic books and the Christopher Reeve Superman era, and it's a cute episode. But considering we hadn't had any Doctor Who for a whole year, thank you BBC, before we got this episode, it kind of came in flat. The Harmony Shoals villains with the zipper faces were back, so that was kind of cool, but they didn't really go anywhere with that because it was kind of they didn't really tie everything up at the end, like the Harmony Shoal people, someone got with Unit. Never went anywhere with that in season 10. It was good to see Nardole back, and was afraid how that was going to work a little bit, but Matt Lucas and Peter Capaldi had great chemistry. Justin Chadwick as the Ghost, I'd seen him in Shameless, and he was good in Shameless, and he was all right as the Ghost. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about. It's a nice episode. It's just not one of my main favorites for Christmas episodes. All right, after that we have 2005's The Christmas Invasion, David Tennant's first episode as the Doctor. Now, I hate regeneration episodes where the Doctor has got post-regenerative trauma or is laid out for the majority of the episode, and this being a Christmas episode and being David Tennant's debut episode, he doesn't do anything for the first 45 minutes except lay in bed. And the story's more around Rose and Mickey and Jackie, which that works in small doses, but not for the first 45 minutes of the episode. Now, Harriet Jones being back in it, Penelope Wilton being back as Harriet Jones, that was cool. And when David Tennant finally wakes up and becomes the 10th Doctor, that's awesome. Like, the last 15 minutes of this episode are awesome. But it's the first 45 that just are a chore to get through. So at number 9 is, or that was 10. So 10 is the Christmas Invasion. So just not one of my favorites. Number 8 is going to be the year after that, The Runaway Bride. It was the debut of Donna. It was the Christmas special between season 2 and season 3. It was right after we lost Rose and Doomsday. And Donna is my favorite companion, but in this episode, which introduces her, she is so trifling. I mean, there's good chemistry between her and David Tennant, but the character is just written, she's just annoying the way she's written. She's written much better in series 4, but she is just not a good just no. And the whole Sycorax, the big walking red spider people, it may have worked in theory, but the whole actualization is kind of childish, and it's not very, who the hell gets married on Christmas Day? So yeah, that Runaway Bride is number 8. Okay, number 7, also on this DVD, is The Time of the Doctor. Now, I not only do I not like post-regenerative trauma regeneration stories, I'm tired of this, the Doctor regenerating on Christmas, which unfortunately we're going to get again tonight. But Time of the Doctor, everything about Matt Smith's run is getting tied up in this episode. The whole siege of Trenzalore, the crack in the skin of the universe. It doesn't really work. And the whole fact that, he's protecting the town of Trenzalore from all the, the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Sontarans and all the creatures in the universe, and Moffat trying to tie up the whole Matt Smith era in a Christmas special. It kind of, it looks like we're going to have this big showdown between the Doctor and all of his enemies. And, we get a few cool gags, like with the wooden Cybermen and the Sontarans and the Weeping Angels with mirrors, but it's more like highlights. Whereas they did a book called the Tales of Trenzalore, which goes much deeper into the whole Battle of Trenzalore, and it was more entertaining than the special was. Now, the regeneration was great, even though, like I said, I'm not a fan of the Doctor regenerating all the Christmas episodes, because it feels like it takes something away from the regeneration story, that you have to tie in the whole Christmas element. So, but the Matt Smith's regeneration into Peter Capaldi was good. Seeing Karen Gillan come back as Amy was good, and it was emotional, but it comes in at a distant number 8. Now, once again, off this big DVD, we get The End of Time 1 and 2, which once again is a regeneration story. It's David Tennant's, and I know this episode gets a lot of hate because of how basically they drag out the whole 10th Doctor's regeneration. And yeah, it doesn't hold up as well as it did when it came out in 2009. But let's see. Timothy Dalton as Rassilon was great. John Smith returning as the Master was great. And Bernard Cribbins, or Bernard Cribbins, however you want to pronounce it, is Wilf. Anytime you get Wilf in anything, Wilf is awesome. Wilf and I have the same birthday, December 29th, so that's awesome. So happy birthday, Wilf. But yeah, this one doesn't really hold up as well either. The Master's plot about putting himself into every living human on Earth was kind of cool, but when you look at it, 8 years later, it's kind of like, But John Sim was great. Timothy Dalton was great. Bernard Cribbins was great. David Tennant in his final go as the Doctor. With it just, as it's aged, it's kind of like, just get to the point and regenerate. And, it's very Christmassy in the first episode. And the second, which was aired on New Year's Day, so I'm kind of cheating on this. Part 2 was a New Year's Day episode, but it's on this damn disc, so they count as 1 and 2. So, yeah, coming in at number 7 is The End of Time. The End of Time, Part 1 and 2. Okay, now, at number 6 is going to be The Husbands of River Song. And I debated on putting this one a whole lot lower because, well, it's kind of goofy. But the last 10 minutes of this is probably some of the best Who in the history of Who, from the point where Capaldi looks at River and goes, "Hello, sweetie," and then everything that follows after that is probably in my top 10 ever of Who. But the leading up before that with King Hydroflax and the removal of the head, and Nardole, we get introduced to Nardole in this, and the fact that the Doctor kind of tells River about 3 times to her face, "I'm the Doctor," and she's just, "Of course you're the Doctor. You're the Doctor I hired to kill my husband." And that she's not getting that this is a new version of the Doctor, or the man that she's married to, the man that she loves. But like I said, when he looks at her on the ship and goes, "Hello, sweetie," it'll give you goosebumps every time. And then the whole Towers of Beryllium and their last night together, and him giving her her own sonic screwdriver, everything that ties into Forest of the Dead and the Silence in the Library. That's what makes this episode. And that's the best parts of this episode. So number 6, The Husbands of River Song. At number 5, we have the 2008 Christmas special, which was The Next Doctor. Uh, David Morrissey was awesome in this, and it kind of makes you wish that he had actually played a version of the Doctor. The chemistry with him and David Tennant is great. I'm not a huge Cyberman fan, but they kind of work in this episode, and the whole Cyber King and Mrs. Harrigan or whatever that ends up being the Cyber King. She's real good in this episode. But the main thing about this is the chemistry with David Tennant and David Morrissey, and you kind of wish he'd have been a cool Doctor. But yeah, the next Doctor comes in at number 5. Okay, at number 4, we're gonna go with Last Christmas, Peter Capaldi's first Christmas special. I love the whole dream aspect of this, and this one comes off more like a horror episode than any of the rest of the Christmas specials. It's by far the darkest Christmas special. The dream crabs work. This would have been the perfect exit for Clara, and I wish they would have took it, especially when late in the episode he shows up and finds Clara and she's an old woman. That would have been the perfect way to get rid of Clara, to write Clara off, but unfortunately we got her for another season. So that being aside, it was the introduction of Capaldi wearing the hoodie, which I like 12 in a hoodie, sorry. And probably the best line from this episode is when Patrick Troughton's son is sitting there gnawing on the turkey leg, and it's like, reminds me of Alien. And Capaldi's all like, Alien? It's like, yeah, the horror movie Alien. And he's like, you have a horror movie called Alien? That's really offensive. No wonder you keep getting invaded. That's one of the highlights of that. So Last Christmas, I like the way they tie up Clara and Danny in this too. The whole, when Clara's in the dream crab state, she gets to say goodbye to Danny. That works. So Last Christmas, number 4. Number 3, The Snowman. Matt Smith's third Christmas special. And this one works. I dig it. I dig the fact that this was my favorite version of Clara, the barmaid / the governess. I like her interaction with Eleven is great. I love the Paternoster gang being back in this. Anytime we get Strax and Vastra and Jenny, and the part with Strax and the memory worm at the beginning I laugh every time I see that. Richard E. Grant as Dr. Simeon / the Great Intelligence, with also even Ian McKellen voicing the Great Intelligence. It's just a really good Christmas episode, and it feels very Christmassy. And the fact that we bring back the Great Intelligence, a classic villain from the Patrick Troughton era. This is a great episode. I love the Snowman. The Snowman comes in at number 3. Now, speaking of Christmassy episodes, number 2, A Christmas Carol. Matt Smith is just awesome in this. Michael Gambon as Kazran Sardix, kind of the Ebenezer Scrooge in this story, is very good in how the Doctor goes past, present, and future with Kazran to try to save Amy and Rory and the 4,000 people trapped in the shuttle up in the ice clouds. Now, the swimming fish and the swimming shark is kind of goofy, but it works. The CGI works pretty good in this story. Abigail and young Kazran's love story is tragic and makes you, it sucks you in. Especially, them ripping off A Christmas Carol with the whole Ghost of Christmas Past, future, present. It works. And Matt Smith this is probably his best go in a Christmas special. You can tell he's having a ball. And so my number 2 Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. Number 1, if you're keeping up, my favorite Christmas episode of Doctor Who is Voyage of the Damned from 2007. And I know it doesn't have an overtly Christmas theme, but I love the whole spaceship Titanic crashing into Earth, and it kind of like the Poseidon adventure in space. And I'm sorry, we get David Tennant's big hero moment where he's like, I'm the Doctor, I'm a Time Lord, I'm 903 from the planet of Castorus, and I'm going to save your lives and 6 billion people down below on the Earth. You got a problem with that? That's David Tennant's high spot in Doctor Who, and it's awesome. And I love the supporting cast: Kylie Minogue as Astrid, Clive Swift as Mr. Copper, All the whole Survivor group is good. You get Jeffrey Palmer in there as the duplicitous captain of the Titanic. Banna Cafalata, Jamie V, who's now playing R2-D2 in the Star Wars movies, is Banna Cafalata. So I just really dig this episode. The whole disaster homage, 70s disaster homage. You got the Titanic crashing to Earth. That's where else but Doctor Who can you get that? And on Christmas. And plus it introduces us to Wilf too in this. So it's just my favorite one to watch. So those are my favorite Doctor Who Christmas episodes as of now. Now, like I said, we're getting Twice Upon a Time tonight. I should be back in Mount Airy by the time it airs, and hopefully I can get a review up after it's over. It's Peter Capaldi's last episode. We get our first look at Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor, as well as David Bradley returning as the first Doctor. So hopefully this is going to be a Christmas episode to remember. So I hope everybody's having a Merry Christmas, and until then, keep on keeping on, and may the Force be with you.